third Sunday, we're discussing the various apostles, disciples, that were associated with the 12 powers. Today, this Sunday is Zeal, which is orange. I'm not being a pumpkin. Feel like one, but and it's the property of Zeal. Now, Charles Fillmore associated that with the top of the spine. And if you think about it, you know, there are brain cells in your gut. That's why you have a gut feeling. And your spine connects your thinking faculty with the rest of your body, sending out those nerve endings for your feeling. A lot of times we think of things coming from here and going out. But the truth is, for you to have an emotion, your body has already released certain proteins and peptides and hormones so that your body is reacting to those chemicals within. So a lot of times that gut feeling is informing the brain, which then perceives it and sends it out to the nerve endings. Sometimes the things that you feel and know are beyond just your thought. That's true for me in terms of zeal. Zeal is one of those old-fashioned words that we don't use that much anymore. It's translated as enthusiasm. But to me, zeal is a much more active type of word. You can be enthusiastic about something and turn the page and not act on it. But if you have zeal, you're going to want to do something. You're going to put yourself into following whatever that is you have a zeal for, a feeling for. It involves your heart function as well as your gut knowing and your nervous system. Now, many of you may remember that many of the disciples thought that the Messiah, Jesus the Christ, was going to free Israel from the Romans. They were looking for a Messiah that was going to be a political, active type Messiah. They weren't looking necessarily for the spiritual. They were looking for a change of their everyday conditions. Now, we have the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and the Essenes. And the Zealots were considered the fourth sect. Now, a lot of the rabbis didn't even accept that because they thought that the Zealots were ignoring rabbinical law, that they were so caught up in the politics of the day that they were saying that was far more important than what you did at temple and doing the various things that an observant Jew would do. They thought that the action in the world was more important. Now, I'm sure that we can think about people who exhibit those kinds of qualities. And the fact that many, not just Simon, many of Jesus' disciples believed that he was going to be active in the world against the Romans tells us a lot about the political climate and the everyday life at that time. Now, we've been fortunate never to have an occupying force in this country. We don't know what that's like firsthand, but you can imagine from your reading, from your knowledge of how it works in other places, what that must be like. To know that your money, your very beingness, even though this is your home, has been taken over by another power, and you must bow to that power. Not a very happy time, not a very happy way to live. And so many of them chafed at this knowledge that they were not in control of their own daily life. For us, what happens is these things tend to take over and be our occupying force. Beliefs from the past, things that we read, things that we heard on the television, things that the movies taught us and we thought were true. Because, you know, movies reinvent history all the time. These ideas and thoughts can take over, and we think that's reality. If I watch the news every night and every morning, as some people do, it would be easy for me. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about me. It would be easy for me to despair. Everyone's shooting. Everybody's doing this. The finances are that. You know, it's just bad story after bad story. But you have to remember that they have how much time to talk about everything in the world? And they want your attention. So they want something that's going to make you, they don't want something that's going to make you say, oh, that's nice, and go on. They want your attention. So they're trying to whip up some sort of emotional response in you. And we don't have the same emotional response to danger, danger, as we do to peace. We're made that way, you know? Whether you believe in evolution or not, we know that our emotions go toward the action, the do something, the fantastical, rather than just the even, the acknowledgement of what is. Can you imagine a newspaper that printed only good stories? I'd buy it. But it probably wouldn't fly for most advertisements and businesses and such, because I said, well, who's going to read that? Actually, I think most of us would. I think most of us are looking for that knowledge of the world that enforces the peace that we know is. I think most of us are looking for a place to put our energies where we can say yay every day rather than every day. To me, that's what zeal is. Zeal is that quality where you are putting yourself wholeheartedly into something. Now, that can be many different ways. I haven't been a mother, but I know that mothers have zeal for their kids. They put themselves totally out, and daddies, for their children. You know, you want the best for your child, unlimited. You would do whatever it took in your mind to make the world better for them. Some people are zealous about diet. Some people will not let any chemical pass their mouth if it didn't grow out of the ground. And they reap the benefits of that.
Cows grow out of the ground.
We have a confirmed carnivore here. You have to know what you're listening to here.
The eggs are on the ground, chicken comes out of the egg. All good.
And that's as opposed to eggs that come from powder out of a container.
Those aren't eggs.
Exactly.
Right, I was with you there.
Yeah. So our definition of things, the things that we think are most important, it's different for all of us. There are people who think the most important thing is to have a perfect presentation. Others think that it's what comes out of your mouth. Some think it's your bank account. Some think it's your friends. People have different values in this material world. But zeal to me is a heart quality. It's coming out of what is most dear and important to you in your individual heart. Now last week, we talked about what would it take to put God first. I believe that because God expresses in everything, you can be zealous about anything and still put God first if you go from that level. Let's say that my particular heartfelt interest was social justice. You can see that as being an expression of God first, can't you? Because I'm saying that all of God's children should be taken care of. I want a world that works for everyone. You can see that if I particularly vibrate to horses, I'm honoring one of God's creatures. I'm seeing the grace and beauty in that animal as an expression of the beauty that God is. I am looking at their herd behavior as a family, an expression of love. I'm seeing them as being something that needs to be cared for and honored. And it could be dogs at a shelter. It could be children coming out of high school. It can be the way our streets look. Whatever you have zeal for, if you think about it, what's behind it is God, because God is everywhere. There's no spot where God is not, and that includes you. So when you vibrate to something, when something touches your heart, and you feel that that is what you want to put your life energies to, your time, if you look behind it, there's God. Now, zeal is one of the 12 powers of man, but man takes part in the nature of God. likeness in nature, remember? So that means that even though this is a quality of man, this zeal is part of your connection to God. So whatever it is that is so very important to you, regardless of what that is, if you serve it from your connection to God, you cannot fail. If you serve it from your connection to God, you will have insight and information to help lead you on your path to do that which is yours to do. That which is yours to do. Because we all have a different role here on planet Earth. You are each individual creations, manifestations of the one. Never been one like you, never will be one like you again. So it's important that you honor what you are feeling, what you are taught, what you are led to be as your highest and best. Nobody can define that but you. Nobody can hear what your inner teaching is because these words are inadequate. But you know when you go into that still small place, you know what you receive. And we want to honor that. There's a reason why there's 7 billion different people on the planet. We're all part of that puzzle coming together. And what you have to offer is special. If you don't honor the highest and best in you, the whole world suffers. Because we're all connected. Unity is not an abstract concept. It is what is. So when you honor the highest and best in you, regardless of what the people around you say, regardless of your family, I'm not going to be crazy, Mama. Regardless of anything, you know what is your truth. You know what is the highest and best that you have to offer at this time. And just like anything else, the more you do that, the more you can do that, and the better the definition of your highest and best will be. Just like if you're exercising, the first day is a killer. I mean, you just, but the next day, you know what it's like, and it's not so bad, and it gets better and better and better from there, to the point that you're doing much more, but there's no discomfort. Same thing with digging deep and expressing that which is at your core. All of us have attributes that we think are important, but we haven't gotten there yet. I was talking to one of you about, I was thinking about a lesson called In the Bucket, because they talk about bucket lists, you know? Why wait? Live now. If you have something that you're burning to do, why not do it now? Put your zeal into that. If you feel so strongly that this must happen before you pass to the next level, why not now? It doesn't mean that you're going to die the next day. It just means that by digging deep and having that zeal for something, doing what is uppermost in your heart, you will see a new horizon. If I've been used to living on this level, but I aspire to there, as long as I'm living down there, I'm not making any progress. But if I want to go there, I must move in that direction. Now, I can see other people moving there. That's nice, but it doesn't do anything for my development. So what you have a zeal for, move toward it, even if it's just a tiny way. Let's say that I have found out about some situation overseas, but I just know a little bit. Then it's on me, if I feel a heart pull toward that, to find out more about it. And the more I find out about it, you know how the internet works, I'll find out even more and more and more. Next, I have to evaluate what I've heard and see what is true. Because we know all the things that are out here are not necessarily true. Even the things that we see walking down the street are appearances. So I might think I understand what's happening, but that doesn't mean I know what the truth is about it. Remember, truth does not change. Facts change. So I must find out what is the truth of the situation that I'm looking for. And that's another reason why I say you'll always end up back at God, because God is the truth. The things about God are the truth. One of the things that we participate in is the World Religion Day. in January. And the theme this year is one light, many windows. So it doesn't matter which window you're looking in. It's the same light, it's the same God, the same energy that we spring from. And that energy is always present in you. Not around, I mean it's around you too, but it's in you. It's how you're made. So you're never alone. You're never weak. You're not even confused. You might feel confused, but you aren't confused. Remember, you are not your feelings. You are far more than that. You are not your thoughts. That's another thing we say, don't believe your thoughts. Because some of your thoughts aren't real. We've all had thoughts, and we thought they were absolutely true, and then the situation changed and we say, oh, that wasn't it at all. So every thought you think isn't the truth. We have to go deeper and really get in tune with the God within. Because God will always answer your questions if you're ready to hear the answer. I know I've had situations where I wanted the answer. Oh, tell me, tell me, tell me. But if I was not ready, if I was not open, it wouldn't come. That's not God's fault. That was on me. We have to be open and ready to accept. God's always here, always there. No matter what you do, no matter where you go. But if you're not open to accept that inner guidance, it'll be as if it isn't. It's not God's fault.
Sometimes you get that answer and you go, why
Yeah.
did I ask that?
Right. Is there anybody else there I can talk to? I don't like
wish
that
I didn't
answer.
have that answer anymore.
Yeah. But that's what I mean about being open and ready to accept, because it's not always the answer we want. It's not the answer we expect. And sometimes we're not sure. So ask again. If you're not sure, stay in that position of being in tune. Keep your intention on hearing the truth. Keep your attention to what is coming through. And eventually you'll be able to tell the difference between your own ego thoughts, because the ego can be really sneaky. Tell you all those nice things that you really would like to hear, give you a little easy path. But that's not necessarily the answer. It is an answer. Feel with your heart as well as thinking with your mind. Pay attention to those gut feelings. Sometimes they're not words, but part of your intuition, your inner teaching, is that still small voice. And that's why it's called that, because it doesn't shout at you. It doesn't force you. No one's going to make you be holy. You have to decide how you want to live your life and from what energy. You always have the human level. You always have the spiritual level. It's your choice. And if you desire, you can live from both, because they harmonize. There's no separation of God over there and the world over there. Unity. It's one. God is everywhere present and totally powerful. This is not like a piece of paper that you can cut up and have a piece over there and a piece over there. God is totally present everywhere. And that includes in you, in your life, if you are open to it. If you accept that inner teaching. If you accept the answers that you will receive. We get feedback from the world and from our inner self. Both of them are valid. But only you can hear that inner teaching. Only you can feel what is touching your heart and spirit. I'm asking you today to honor that and realize that you have a unique role on the planet. There's a reason why you are alive here and now. You're special. Really, I'm not polishing your ego. I'm just telling you the truth. You are special. You are here to be you. No one else can do it. And if you don't do all the things that are in you to do, they don't get done. God didn't make any mistake on putting you here, as you are, where you are, because all of these are clues to the greatness that lives within us, clues to our connection to our our source. That doesn't mean you get stuck where you are. That doesn't mean you accept something that's lesser than. No, go toward that thing that really moves your heart and mind, that makes your spirit sing, that makes you feel alive and vital and worthwhile. You know what it is. It might be your garden. That's valid. Don't you get joy when you go past a well-kept yard and see some flowers? And sometimes people grace us with bringing flowers. It makes a difference in your day. Whatever it is, it could be something that you discount from your human mind. But if it gives you the feeling of connected to your spirit, connected to God, being on the path to the greater you, why not do that? How do you expect God to talk to you except from these inklings within? And as you do, what does it say? God will make a way when there's no way, or open a door when there's no door. You get feedback from this material world that tells you, yeah, a little more to the right, a little more to the left. Make the long pass, hold it tight. You get feedback that tells you just how to embody the you of you, the God of you, the universal presence that's in you. So if you don't consciously know now, start that journey. Doesn't matter how long you take. Doesn't matter where you were before. If you decide to tune into God before you talk, before you act, before you do anything, more and more you'll realize that what's coming out of you is from that level rather than this level. It's up to you. Nobody can make that decision but you. And the great thing is, if we find ourselves doing something that we don't think is of that quality, you got another second to do it again. And another second. Because you're alive with the life of God. You were never born and you will never die. God in you is. Not will be, not used to be, is. So your connection is permanent. And you can always choose, and choose again, to be that highest and best self. Always available. Let's have fun with it. Namaste.